Hello, welcome to the video. I recently watched the movie Cars, and I let my conspiracy. I recently watched the movie Cars, and I let my conspiracy brain take over while I was watching. Because it's a kids movie, and they're always like, don't think too much about kids movies. It's just a kids movie. It's an animated movie. It's fine. But I couldn't stop thinking. I couldn't stop overthinking everything that I was watching. We never see any animals in the movie Cars, the first one. I'm talking about the only the first movie. We never see any animals except for bugs, and they're all Volkswagen bugs. So they're like, that was cool, Volkswagen bugs. So we should make all the bugs Volkswagens. Who made this movie? So all of the bugs are Volkswagen Beetles, and and the bugs are the only animals that we see in the whole movie. Okay, so there's no other animals. So does that mean that the cars evolved from the bugs and they're just two different branches on the same species tree, like how humans and chimpanzees are from the same tree but we're different species? Is it like that? Is each different brand of car a different species? Like, is a Volkswagen and a BMW a different species of car? Why do the cars have door handles if there are no humans? Does that mean that they can open their doors? If you're born as a sports car, do you have to be a sports car? Like, you can't paint or whatever. If you're born as a muscle car, do you have to be like a model or something? If you're born as a truck, do you have to be a country car? I don't know. What happens if they open their doors? Do like all their organs fall out? Or do they even have organs? Do they have like a thing inside their car cabin that keeps all their organs and like their brain and stuff in there so you can open the car door? Or do they have like seats and like a steering wheel and like a glove box inside their cabins? Can you open a car's trunk? Is there an empty space in the trunk? Because we see one car, and he has one of those luggage carriers on top of the car, on top of him. Like I would say it's on his back, but it kind of looks like it's on his head. Because I don't know. Do they have luggage? Do they need? Is it kind of like a backpack, and it's like a person wearing a backpack, like go hiking or something, and you just put all your stuff in the backpack? Or do they have like can you put stuff in their trunk? They don't wear clothes. So what's in the luggage container? What's in there? Like, is it extra tires? Is it extra gas? Is it like clothes? Like, do you wear clothes? Do they have hats or something? What's in there? And why do they have cameras and tools like wrenches when no one without hands can use them? Like how did the camera evolve to be what we perceive as a camera if no one had hands to build it exactly how humans built it? And how do they even use the camera in the because there's like a button that you have to click? And what are those like metal thingies, the like little poles that they have to use do those come out of their body? Is it like a prosthetic arm? Are the cars electronic? Or are they stick shift? Are they automatic? Do they run? Do they have brains that run on electricity, and that's kind of like their battery? Or like, do they have blood? Do they have hearts that pump blood? Or does it pump gas? Or does it pump oil? And why is Bessie not sentient? Why is Bessie a machine when Bessie is like another form of car? Like, they have fire trucks that are sentient. They have RVs, and they have helicopters that are sentient. And is the helicopter a different species? Is it like all of the machines are alive? So, like, do you have like a coffee maker, and that's like a different species? Or like a remote control car, is that like a different species? Or like a plane, is that a different species from the cars? Do they live in the same world? Because there's a Planes movie. Does that mean that the planes and cars are like cousins or something? Are the wheels shoes? Like, are tires like shoes? And then the wheel is like the rim part. Is that like your foot? And then you put a shoe on like you put a tire on? Or is it like the tires are just completely removable and they're not a part of you? Does that mean you were born with tires? Are you made with tires? Like, are the cars made, or are they born? Or like, who built the cars if they were made? And then if they're born, how? Do cars have sex? How do they have baby cars? Because there's children cars shown, like the little kid cars are shown. Like, there's one in the movie. Like was that kid born? Did its parents build it? How do the cars grow? Do they grow over time? Or are they like small when they're a kid and then they just grow and then stay that size? Or do they have to like get modifications in order to get bigger? If you modify yourself, like if you paint yourself a different color, does that mean you're changing races? If you modify the like your outside at all to look like a different car, did you just change species? Did you change races? How long can the cars live? Because we're shown that everyone in Radiator Springs has been there since at least the 50s, because the 50s was like their heyday kind of thing. And if we assume that the movie takes place in 2004 when Cars came out, does that mean that Mater and everyone else in Radiator Springs is like 60 years old? And Mater, he lost his hood. So does that mean he lost his nose? Like, he just walks around without a nose? Or like, is it like a thing that you can put on? Like, is it like earrings or like a nose ring that you just like wear that you don't really need? Was he born with it and he just lost it? Or like, what about his toe cable? Is it like a tail? Is he like a mutant or something? Like, he was born with the toe cable, so he became like this really necessary part of the car world because everyone needs to be towed when they run out of gas. Do they eat food? Do they have cooks? Or do they only eat gas? Do they only drink gas? But if they can drink gas, why do they have the gas caps? Like why do they have the tank, the thing on the side where you can put the gas thingy in and fill up the tank? Do they have tanks, or is like that pumping directly into their stomach? Is that like a different mouth kind of thing? Because we see them drink it through their mouths. So like, if they get it in the gas cap thing, is that like a different mouth? Is that like putting it in their butt? Is that, oh no. Are doctors like mechanics, but also doctors because they have organic and metal parts? Are the cars made of metal, or is it some kind of organic something that looks and feels like metal, but it's not actually metal? Because their eyelids blink and their mouths move, but it's shiny like metal. Can they move any other parts of their face aside from the mouths and eyelids if it's not completely metal? So does that mean they can open their doors, or is it just like an aesthetic, like how humans have freckles and stuff, or like we have separations between our fingers, or like we have these lines on the inside of our hands where they fold, the skin folds on itself? Is that what the door is? It's like a fold in their skin, but you can't actually like open it? Is a handle like a freckle? Like a door handle, is that like freckles? Like it's just purely for looks. It's not like a thing like it actually it's like a vestigial organ. If so, why does everyone have handles? Like, so look, Lightning McQueen doesn't have headlights. So like, are you born with headlights? Or do you get them installed? Or like if you're a race car, do you get them removed? Or like, were you just born without them and that's why you're a race car? Why do they have tongues and teeth? Why are the cars' eyes just like one big eye? Like humans have separate eyes, you know, but the cars, their windshield is just like one white sclera. It's just one big sclera, but their pupils and irises are separate. So does that mean their eyes are two separate things? Or is it just they have two irises that are just on one sclera and they can move them freely? Do they have eyeballs? Or is it like just a sheet with the irises on it that move around? If driving is like walking or running, how do the cars go the speed that they go? Why do the cars have license plates? Do they have to register with a DMV? Or is it like, is the license plate number like their social security number? Can you change your license plate number? Can you personalize it? Do they have combustion engines? Do they have driver's licenses? If the oldest car we see is the one that's married to Stanley, I think her name was Dolores. If the oldest car is her and Stanley, and the oldest she can be is like 80 to 100 because cars were invented in like the 1880s. And we assumed that the movie takes place in 2004 when the movie was released. Does that mean ancient cars were just carts pulled by horses? Or were the cars horses that evolved into cars? Are the ancient cars just like sentient horses that evolved over time? Who invented modern cars then? Like, did the cars just evolve over the generations? Or was it like someone built each new kind of car like every year? And if it was evolution, how did it happen so fast? Did someone build the first car? And like who? Are all of the animals that we don't see also cars? Are cars more related to horses than humans? Is a smog check the same as a prostate exam? Probably not. How do you differentiate between cars, like, based on their genders? Like, how do you know you have a male car and a female car? Is it just based on look? Is it based on color? Are they all, like, transgender? Do they all just have one gender? And they just choose to they just pick their pronouns or something? Do planes exist? How do the cars fly them? And if there are planes that aren't sentient, why is there a sentient helicopter? Are diesel and gas cars different species? Why are the RVs there? Why do RVs exist? Why would Lightning McQueen go inside Mac's trailer? Is that like sitting in his stomach? Is that like he is it like he's carrying Lightning? Is it like a piggyback ride? Or like, is it like going, like, does Mac feel the inside of his trailer at all? Because he can hook and unhook it. So is it a part of him? Is it just an attachable container, like a backpack? Do you take off your wheels to sleep? Is paint color more like your race? Or is it like clothes? There's a minivan that has like a mattress on its roof when it's driving on the highway. Why does that minivan have a mattress if the cars sleep like standing up on their wheels? Are car washes like showers? Is like a car wash something like that you would do in private? Or is it like it is in our world where you just go through and everyone does it? Is it like a socially acceptable thing, like a bathhouse? Do pools exist? And country clubs and like golfing and like, how do cars golf? How do they play tennis? Or like, any sport aside from racing? Is racing the only sport that the cars can do? Is that kind of like running track or like cross country? Are the cars naked all the time? Like, is every car that we see just naked? Is there such a thing as public indecency? Like, can you get arrested for being naked in public? Are they nudists? We're just used to that. Like, everyone, just like how everyone just wears clothes, the cars are just always naked, and it's just normal. Can cars get drunk? Is there alcohol? Or like some version of car alcohol? Because gasoline and alcohol are kind of similar. So like, do they drink something else to get drunk? Do they drink water? Do they have like soda? We see that they have wasabi in Cars 2, and Mater knows what pistachio ice cream is. So like, do they have food? Do they eat food? Does each country have their own kind of gas, and the gas is like food and they just make it differently? Or do they have food and gas is like their water? Do they have to drill it out, or like is it just something that's around? Why do the cars rust? Is it a disease? How do you replace light bulbs in your headlights? Is that like replacing a diamond in an earring or something? Are there police transport cars? Are those sentient and like they're big enough to just put a car in to like take to jail? Or if you're arresting someone, do you just tow them? Are the tow trucks a part of the police force, or are they like consultants and they're just hired as needed? How do you arrest someone? Like, do you just put a boot on them and then they're arrested? Are there handcuffs? Well, I guess tire cuffs. Can you like take off someone's wheels, or is that like cutting off their feet? Is that like a permanent thing, or is that like is that like handcuffs? Like if you take off someone's wheels, is that bad? Like, would that hurt? Do the cars feel pain? Are the side view mirrors like ears? Can some people move their mirrors and other people can't? Or cars, I guess. Or like mirrors installed. Is there like a gear shift? Because we see when people brake and reverse and stuff, there's lights, and you can tell when they're reversing. So like, are the lights like natural, or do those have to be installed? Is it just like you just think, oh, I'm gonna go backwards now, so then you go backwards and then the light turns on? Or like, is there a gear shift where you have to physically move it into place and then you can go backwards? Which brings me back to automatic cars and stick shift cars. Is it like stick shift cars are just older? Is that like an older generation? And then automatic cars are like kids? Wouldn't a stick shift car and a stick shift car have a stick shift kid? Is it like how kids nowadays are being born without their molar teeth? Is it just another vestigial organ that's just going away the more kids are being born? Do the cars have nerves all over their bodies? Can they feel stuff? Can they feel stuff inside? Like if you open their trunk and touch the floor of the trunk, is that like touching someone's back? Just like running your hand down? Like, if you get into a car, can they feel it? Or can you just not even open the door? What do the outside of the cars feel like? Does it feel like metal, or does it feel like skin and it just looks like metal? Do they produce oils? Or are they just like metal? Do they have pores? Can they get acne? Is rust acne? Or is rust like cancer? Because we see that one car, Fred, his jaw falls off. So is that like bone disease? How do the cars lock themselves? We see 2 cars lock themselves in the movie. Do they have to like consciously do that? Or is that just like how we have facial expressions? We just become guarded. Is that like a physical manifestation of them guarding themselves? Or do they have physical locks that lock their doors? Does that mean that they can open their doors? Can they put their windows down? Why can they lock themselves? Do they have phones? Do they have phones in their heads? Because, like, Lightning, when he's racing, does he have, like, an earpiece? And he wears that so he can hear his crew chief? Or, like, does he have a chip in his head that lets him hear? Or, like, a radio? Like, do they hear through their stereos? Do they have stereos? In the movie? Am I reading too much into this? Probably. Are headlights nipples? Because there's a joke in Cars 1 where two cars, they, like, flash their headlights at McQueen. Are they flashing him? Like, pulling up their shirts? Like, that kind of flashing? So are the headlights nipples? Or like, is that their chest? Why is their chest in between their mouth and their eyes? Do they have mustache? Like, do they have facial hair and stuff? Because we see, like, Doc, his grill looks like a mustache. And it's above his mouth, so it looks like a mustache. So is it a can he shave it off? Or, like, can he change it? And what would he look like without the mustache grill? So if the headlights are nipples, if you're driving at night, are you flashing everyone? Does everyone have to drive with their nipples exposed all the time? It is like turning your headlights on, is that like a skill that you have to practice? Or is it just like a switch? How do they do that without having a switch inside on the dashboard? Do they have dashboards? Did cars exist before the 1870s? How does public transportation work? How does personal transportation work? If you have do children drive on the car? Wait, do the children cars drive on highways? Or do they have, like, specific roads for kids? Are the kids, do they get into their parent cars? And their parent cars drive them around? Do they have bones? Is showing someone your undercarriage like mooning them? If a car gets totaled, which in our world means is undrivable, unfixable, and you have to get rid of it. In the car's world, does getting totaled mean that you're dead? How would a totaled car that's still alive survive? Is that car now like a vegetable? Like, it has to be on life support? Like, how does life support work? Like, how do you do surgeries on a car that's been totaled? We see in the end credits of Cars, like, Mac is watching all of the Pixar movies, and in all those movies, all the characters are all cars. If they have the same movies as us, but, like, all the characters are now cars, are those human cars and the cars, like, different? Say you have a movie like Speed, where, like, it's about a bus that's going too fast and we can't stop it. Does that movie exist in the Cars universe, but they're all cars? And if so, why is there a bus? Why does the bus even exist? Why are all the cars on the bus? And is the bus sentient? Is there a bus driver? Is that kind of like those big semis that have the shelves with the cars on it? Is that what a bus is like in the Cars universe? How do they film movies? What about movies that are specifically about cars? Is the plot the same? How do movies work? How do movies work in the Cars universe? Because, of course, I have to ask questions about Supernatural. What kind of cars would Dean and Sam be? Does Baby still exist? Or is Dean the Impala and Sam is just a different car and they just drive next to each other? Do they still drive in the same place? Or do they have like a thing that they can drive together in? Or are they just like driving behind each other, like side by side? Or like if the angels in Supernatural like exist, since an angel has to possess a human body, in the Cars universe, would that be like an angel is like a human and the human gets into the car and then drives the car around? Is that what possession is like? How does that work? Are there humans in the Cars universe? Are they all dead? Are they all just myths? Do they exist at all? Did they exist in the past? Like, they built the cars and then the cars took over? Like, that kind of thing? And that's why everyone has handles and stuff? And, like, tools that only humans can use? Like wrenches and drills and cameras and flags? Like, you can wave a flag, I guess. But why would a car invent that? Why would a car make that? Do stunt driver cars exist? Are they the same as stunt doubles? Do cars have souls? Is your soul like your battery? Do the cars have Christianity? Do they believe in heaven and hell? Are there demon cars? Are there angel cars? Is God a car? What kind of car is God? What kind of car was Jesus? How do you differentiate between, like, ages? Because Lightning McQueen, he's probably like 25. Is that old? Is like 25 like an old car? Or is he young? And like Mater, he's like 60. And the Doc guy, he's like 80. Is there an age difference? Or do they all just look? Are they all immortal? Or they just, when they break down, they die? Doc had his car crash, his big crash, in 1954. Did he fight in World War II? Was there a World War II? What was the car holocaust like? What kind of car was Hitler? How did you differentiate between Jewish cars and non-Jewish cars? What did World War II look like? Does the Pope Mobile exist? Is the Pope just the Pope Mobile? Or is he like a different car and he sits on top of a car and that car is the Pope Mobile? Did that car have to have its body modified to become the Pope Mobile, or was it born that way? What about, like, all the Greek gods? Were they cars? Or were they people? Or were they, like, do they exist? Are there still Greek gods and stuff? What kind of car were the ancient people supposed to be? Are they like carts? Are they just wheels? Like cavemen cars? Were they just wheels that could think? Who invented the wheel? Because you have to like put tires on. So does that mean the cars are born without them? Does that mean someone had to invent tires? Who invented tires? Why did a car invent tires? What is car history like? Is there car racism? Like, if you're a different brand than someone else, are you racist against them? Because are the brands races? Do the cars fight? Do they just race? What do car Olympics look like? Can cars swim? Can they jump? Why do the clouds look like tire tracks sometimes? Is that car god driving on the sky? Do commercial airplanes exist? Do all the cars just ride in a plane? Is the plane sentient, or does it have car pilots? There are trains. We see trains, sentient trains. So, like, is that a different species? Do they carry cars on that train? Do you have to, like, be built to accommodate different cars? Does everyone just drive everywhere? How does construction work? Yeah, I think those are all my questions about cars. There's probably a lot more, but, like, cars just baffles me. They literally just made this movie and just put it out and expected us to not ask any questions at all. But I have so many questions. I had so many questions. Clearly, I had so many questions. However long this video ends up being, thank you for watching it. I'm sorry that I just asked questions at you. I have no answers. Now you have to think about it. You have to. And you're just going to be stuck thinking about it because there are no answers. Like, we don't know anything. We don't know anything. We never got a Cars history lesson. All we have is our imagination. And I'm sure you could ask the person who made Cars, are headlights nipples? And they'll probably say yeah. Because those two cars in there, they flashed lightning with their headlights. So, like, their headlights must be nipples. Does that mean Lightning McQueen doesn't have nipples? Yeah, I need to go lay down. I'm not gonna stop thinking about this for like a week. I can't. I won't be able to move on with my life until I get answers for all of these questions. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. I hope I haunt your nightmares with all of these different questions that I asked. Okay, bye. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.